a little spoken word piece that I want to share with you tonight. So thanks for listening. I welcome and appreciate any feedback that you have. Here it goes. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. He said it 11 times, and while the illegal chokehold was caught on camera and the medical examiner ruled it a homicide, there seems to be a chokehold on justice these days when it comes to even getting an indictment on those who kill black men. You heard the old saying from a judge that a prosecutor, if they wanted to, could easily get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. Well, someone needs to go ham on these white bread systems and which need to catch up with the times. Tonight, I thought back on my own most serious encounter with the police. It was about 6 years ago when I was a professor at Shaw University. Racing to my office one morning, I thought that I caught the yellow light making the final turn. Whoop, whoop. My heart raced. You see, I had been living in North Carolina for about 5 years and never managed to get a state driver's license. I think that we had about 6 months to do so, and I was still holding on to mine from Washington State. And I'd been ticketed for speeding a few times and warned that I better get that license or else. And I didn't. The officer who pulled me over let me know, I can take you to jail right now. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Literally, I started to sweat and struggle to catch wind. Normally, I'm pretty cool under pressure. But even though the officer kept telling me not to say I'm sorry, I kept saying it. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I had visions of being on the cover of the local paper, the Slammer. That's the one that features mugshots of criminals. They'd probably put a professor on front page. I was right on the edge of campus, and I feared seeing my students watch me get taken away in handcuffs. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Both suspects, Eric Garner and Greenfield, both he and I are cornered and threatened for arrest by police officers. The officer tells me I could arrest you. He dies from cardiac arrest. You see, he gets choked to death for allegedly selling loose cigarettes, but the officer in front of me cuts me loose. When I get a traffic ticket, he gets a toe tag. When I get to return to my home, ironically in Garner, North Carolina, Eric Garner leaves behind 6 kids needing their loving daddy in his home. Eric G. and Derek G. differ by just 1 letter and a little DNA, but he's DOA and I'm A-OK. When it was all over, I could breathe, and maybe that's what white privilege is all about. Being able to breathe a little easier every day and in almost every way. White privilege means breathing a little easier when the police are around. White privilege means literally breathing a little easier because people of color are far more likely to live in communities with toxic chemicals polluting the air. White privilege means breathing a little easier in the classroom and in the courtroom with treatment that seems a little better from people who just tend to look a little bit more like you. White privilege means breathing a little easier when it comes to finding one's identity when others are struggling and stressing and sweating to make sense of self in a world that seems to question their very existence. White privilege just means breathing a little easier every single day. And I'm holding my breath waiting for change. But while you physically cannot die from holding your own breath, young black and brown men are too often taking their last breaths. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe any more of this toxic talk on TV and radio from hosts who need spiritual breath mints because they're breathing out funky stuff that I just can't stomach. We all need to take a breath and then fight with every breath to make sure the world is a more just place. I want the creative talents and genius of young black and brown men to take our breath away. I want for their lives to be seen as a breath of fresh air. Even the Bible contains 12 references to breath, one more than the number of times Eric Garner prayed for his. So what will you do to breathe life into this world and into this work? Breathe in love and breathe out hate. Breathe in justice, breathe out just us. Breathe in openness, breathe out closed-mindedness. Breathe in, and for those in privilege who get an extra oxygen mask on these American airlines, give up the mask that pretend that privilege doesn't exist and share a little air with those who don't get as much. So as we ascend together, the air gets a little thinner, and we're going to need to share a little bit more. I can breathe. 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 I can breathe.